coming up on Carolina Week.
Tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
Students react to Donald Trump's election and cabinet appointments.
You've seen them on the street, but you probably don't know the rules surrounding panhandling.
And one local organization is giving tigers found in captivity a new life. All that and more, Carolina Week
Starts right now.
From the UNC School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering Carolina in HD, this is Carolina Week.
Just when you thought you had a break from the elections, North Carolinians will be back at the polls next year. Hello, I'm Sharon Dunn.
And I'm Jacqueline Lee. It's all because of a federal court ruling handed down Tuesday evening. That story in just a minute, but first we have breaking news. The end could be in sight for the hotly contested North Carolina governor's race. Reporter Katie Cameron joins us live in the studio with the latest from the State Board of Elections. Katie.
Jacqueline, Roy Cooper's lead over incumbent Governor Pat McCrory is now more than 10,000 votes. This is a big milestone in this race because the McCrory campaign now loses its automatic right to a recount. This race has been tight from the beginning. Right after Election Day, Cooper led McCrory by about 5,000 votes. This week, counties tallied provisional and absentee ballots. Afternoon, Cooper's lead grew to 10,329 votes. According to the State Board of Elections website, all 100 counties have now reported their votes, but there is no word yet on if and when an official call in the governor's race will be made. Jacqueline?
Katie Cameron live in our studio. Thanks, Katie. A federal court says North Carolina must hold a special election next fall for the General Assembly after 28 districts in our state are redrawn. A U.S. District Court already ruled earlier this year that the districts were gerrymandered on the basis of race, which is unconstitutional. State lawmakers said they would redraw the districts in time for the 2018 election, but the federal court said that wasn't soon enough. The court order gives them until March 15th to redraw the districts.
As Inauguration Day nears, President-elect Donald Trump is making appointments to some key leadership positions in Washington. First up, Trump picked Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions for Attorney General. For Housing and Urban Development Secretary, he chose former presidential candidate also Ben Carson, who also ran for the Republican nomination. He chose former Labor Secretary Elaine Chao, who also worked for the George W. Bush administration, for Transportation Secretary. And for his chief White House strategist, Trump chose his campaign CEO, Steve Bannon, who has made waves for his ties with neo-Nazism. Trump's appointments give Americans a preview of what types of policies may be his priorities over the next 4 years. Here's what some UNC students had to say about his picks.
For someone who is draining the swamp, quote unquote, he's doing a very poor job about it.
The thing that scares me the most really about his entire agenda is the way he's going about climate change and how he really doesn't think that it's real.
Now, there are still dozens of key positions open, including Secretary of State, Defense Secretary, and Director of National Intelligence.
On the campaign trail, Trump made promises to deport undocumented immigrants, raising fear among many in the immigrant community, including students here at UNC. Reporter Katie Wilkinson joins us from South Building with more about what Student Congress is doing to address this issue.
Jacqueline, UNC's Student Congress just passed a resolution supporting the university's efforts to make UNC a sanctuary, a place that would protect undocumented immigrant students. They could do this by not sharing student immigration status with federal authorities, not allowing immigration officers on campus without a warrant, and providing legal support for students with immigration law issues. Now, Governor Pat McCrory passed a bill outlawing the sanctuary cities in North Carolina, and some of the student members of Congress felt that this would threaten the university's funding. Overall, a majority of the Congress voted that this would be a good idea, and the resolution was passed 17-7. Jacqueline?
Katie Wilkinson reporting from the South Building. Thanks, Katie.
Even weeks out from the presidential election, people are still protesting the results. The day before Thanksgiving break, dozens of student protesters gathered with signs and drums to peacefully protest against what they called the hateful rhetoric of the president-elect. Protesters marched on Franklin Street and East Cameron, chanting for democracy and equality.
With Trump protests happening on campus and around the country, it can sometimes be difficult for students who are Trump supporters to express their opinions to their peers, even online. As reporter Sydney Holman shows us, politics can even make social media very unfriendly.
Scroll through your Facebook and Twitter feeds and you're likely to be overwhelmed with posts about Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. A recent study shows 39% of social media users have tried to avoid the political discussion. Carly Reed, a senior Trump supporter, says she has unfriended around 200 people on Facebook.
I thought that I knew these people, and I thought that they were more well-rounded and understanding people, and they would never insult a man who is now our president. I really don't think you're so important that you can insult the president of the United States.
She says posts have called Trump supporters racists, uneducated, and homophobic. Descriptions, she says, do not apply to her.
I just unfriend them, and I don't want to spend my time reading those posts, and they don't really matter enough to me to care what they say.
But not everyone has been able to ignore the comments. Brian Balcom, an outspoken Trump supporter, felt the need to contribute on Facebook.
I definitely wanted to hold back, but after going through my timeline and just seeing everything that people were saying, I just really felt I needed to say something.
He's trying to find a way to be positive during a time of hate and negativity.
A lot of it's sickening. It's troubling to see some of the things that people have been doing. Going on social media and seeing some of the posts is just, it's tough. I don't think it's anything that should ruin friendships, but I think it's something that can really help people out if they, take the time and the patience to listen to both sides.
Balcom and Reed say they hope the online anger dies down soon and social media can become civil once again. In Chapel Hill, I'm Sydney Holman reporting.
During the election, thousands of what's called secret groups popped up on Facebook. These private groups serve as forums for people to share their opinions with others who have similar political beliefs.
Switching gears now, more than 40 wildfires continue to devastate the southeast. Most recently, Gatlinburg, Tennessee. 3 people were killed and 14 others were injured yesterday. The wildfires, which started Monday in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, have forced more than 14,000 people to leave their homes. Here in North Carolina, the rain is helping contain the fires in Graham, McDowell, Northern Jackson, and Macon counties. And you think about animal rescues around here, lions and tigers may not come to mind.
But just like the small ones, some big cats also need new homes. That's up next.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Did you know parking over tall, dry grass can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But I get it, you're busy, and busy people can't have prediabetes. I read that wrong. They can, okay? Just go to the site.
North Carolina Central University is in mourning after the death of their chancellor, Deborah Saunders White. Saunders White made history as being the first permanent female chancellor at the university.
She died Saturday after battling kidney cancer. UNC
people asking for money, but there's a reason they got there. And in Durham, there are strict rules they must follow to stay there. I sat down with one panhandler who was willing to share her story.
Flying and panhandling is two different things. Flying is standing up there like I was doing with a sign, and panhandling is going to ask people for money. And I tell them anything helps, God bless.
Ann Williams flies her sign every day from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
One day I only got $15 out here. One Saturday, I probably got $130. It depends on the day and the crowd.
She says she lives in a tent in these woods because she can't afford rent.
I was receiving a disability check and it got cut off.
Williams is no longer on speaking terms with her family or her children.
It's depressing. You take it as you go. You have good days and bad days. There's a lot of people who come by here until you get a job. You can't get a job without an address. You got people come by here until you get off of drugs and everything else, and I don't do none of it.
In Durham, solicitors like Williams have to follow strict rules. They must stand on a paved sidewalk, not on a median or grassy area. They can interact only with passengers, not the driver. They must wear reflective vests. They can solicit only during the day. And the signs they hold can't be longer than 2 feet in any direction.
When people know that you're homeless around here, they look down on you.
However, she found a community among other panhandlers.
We watch everybody's back around here. If somebody comes by or comes up to me, the only thing I got to do is just wave Chris down, and Chris will come over here and see what the problem is.
And her ultimate goal for the future:
to get a place and stay in that place and get my SSI started back.
Your what?
My SSI, my disability check.
Durham police, as well as other organizations, say you shouldn't give panhandlers money directly. Instead, donate food or donate money to the organizations that help them.
Tomorrow, December 1st, is World AIDS Day. UNC Student Wellness and the Student Health Action Coalition will be hosting a free testing event in the Student Union. All students, faculty, and staff can take an AIDS test from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m., and the results will be provided within under an hour. World AIDS Day is an opportunity to show support for people living with disease and commemorate those who have passed away.
When you think of rescue animals, puppies and kittens may come to mind.
But reporter Sofia De La Guardia takes us to a place that's home to some four-legged friends you may not expect.
Just half an hour from UNC, you can visit some adorable kitty cats. But beware, they're a little larger than your usual household pet. Welcome to the Carolina Tiger Rescue, an organization based in Pittsburgh that's been rescuing wild animals for the past 40 years. 47 animals live here, ranging from big cats to small cats. Education Director Katie Cannon says most of the animals here share a similar past.
There are two common stories. One is that they were privately owned. A lot of our residents used to be in the hands of private citizens as pets. The other is we get a lot from places like roadside zoos that can no longer support themselves or have been closed down by the government due to inhumane conditions.
Sebastian here lived for the first part of his life as an attraction in a haunted house in Texas. Tarzan lived in the first floor of a hotel in Mexico when he was a cub. But the more he grew, guests became scared of him, so he was locked away in a tiny cage in the front of a hotel for 2 years. Some of the animals come from different parts of the country, but many of the wildcats come from North Carolina, which has very loose pet ownership laws.
In North Carolina, there is no legislation against the ownership of a non-native species. So in other words, you can legally own a wildcat, and not only that, there is you don't have to register it.
Cannon says that after a lot of treatment and care, the animals recover and start showing off their personalities. Like Carolina, kids often laugh at her because she moves like a cow. Although the rescue center can be fun for visitors, the way the animals got here is no laughing matter.
These guys don't belong in circuses, they don't belong in backyards, they don't belong in roadside zoos. They deserve the respect of that wild animal.
Change starts with education, Cannon says. From Pittsburgh, I'm Sofia De La Guardia reporting.
Now the rescue center is open for public tours on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
It's almost December, but winter weather has yet to hit Chapel Hill.
Will this warm spell continue? Meteorologist Alex Komet has the forecast coming up next.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love, love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Hi, welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. I'm your meteorologist, Alex Comment. A couple things that I want to talk about ahead. When will the cold return? Some much needed rain and the 5-day forecast. I have all that coming up. Let's take a look at the drought conditions across the state. This was last week, and you can see that as you go from west to east, it goes from extreme drought to no drought at all. As Sharon was mentioning earlier, we do have a lot of wildfires going on in the western part of the state and in Tennessee, and the rain that's coming through this week will definitely help that. Sometimes these slides have a mind of their own. Moving forward, if you see the observed rainfall we got yesterday definitely brought some relief to the area, and more rainfall today that's moving through and will be affecting us later on this evening is going to add to that and help out as well. Just take a look at the surface map. You can see we do have a cold front here, and it's making its way across the state. This is the one that will be affecting us later on this evening, bringing us a few thunderstorms as we go through the night and into the early morning hours. If you look back to the west, though, you can see this high pressure system is going to take the place of that cold front as it moves offshore, bringing us beautiful skies tomorrow, nothing but sunshine on tap. It will bring with it some cooler temperatures as well. Behind that is another cold front that will be bringing us a chance of rain as we go into the later part of next weekend. Currently in Chapel Hill, we have 53 degrees, partly cloudy skies. In Raleigh, it's 58, and in Durham, it's 60 degrees. Today, partly cloudy, possible thunderstorms that will be moving through later on this evening into tonight. A high of 74 and a record high we had in 2006 of 77. Tonight, we're going to drop down to 52 degrees. Thunderstorms early, cloudy overnight, clearing into the morning with a record low of 15 set back in 1929. Tomorrow on your way out the door, we have 53 degrees at 8 a.m. We have 58 at noon and then 60. We're only going to top out at 61 degrees tomorrow, so we won't go much higher than that. Make sure you have your jacket ready. The cold weather is returning. And for your 5-day forecast, we have 61 tomorrow, dropping down to 36 overnight. We've got 30s all week long, getting close to freezing on Friday night, and then these rain chances move in as we get closer to the weekend.
So going back to what you said earlier, I mean, why do we have so many wildfires in the southeast? You know, I would assume I would think of the West Coast instead of here.
Typically, when we think of wildfires, you don't think North Carolina, but on average, fall is pretty dry usually. It's just been extremely dry this year, and as soon as a fire gets sparked, it's hard to keep them out of control.
Jeez. Well, we'll be watching that, and we'll be sure to bring all the updates to you coming up soon.
Thanks, Alex.
Definitely.
It was Black Friday for shoppers the day after Thanksgiving.
The football team was black and blue after taking some punches from NC State, knocking the heels out of a top-tier bowl bid.
Open up your books to page 360.
Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Talking about inspirational quotes.
You gotta believe in yourself. Don't ever.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
is everybody?
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Up to 40% of businesses never recover after experiencing a major disaster. Make a plan at ready.gov/business.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm Peyton Walker. The now third-ranked men's basketball team spent the Thanksgiving break in Hawaii playing in the Maui Invitational, and the result was as sweet as pumpkin pie. The Heels faced Chaminade on Monday, Oklahoma State on Tuesday, and Wisconsin in the final on Wednesday. Carolina won the 3 games by an average of 30 points, putting up triple digits in both of the first 2 games. Following the tournament, the Heels are 7-0, their best start since the 2008-2009 season. And I don't want to jinx anything, but the past 2 times Carolina won the Maui Invitational was 2004 and 2008, and the Heels went on to win national championships in both of those seasons. After his performance in Maui, Joel Berry was selected as ACC Player of the Week. This is the second time in only 3 weeks the junior has received this honor. He leads the team in scoring and assists with 17.1 points per game and 4.3 assists per game. But maybe most importantly, Berry has proved himself a threat beyond the arc, shooting a staggering 47% from 3. The Heels face their biggest test of the season tonight, battling number 13 Indiana in Bloomington. The Hoosiers were ranked number 3 in the AP poll before losing to Fort Wayne last week, and head coach Roy Williams and Joel Berry know the game will be intense.
Playing Indiana at Indiana, they're having a reunion or a celebration of the 81 National Championship team, bringing those guys back. So we're facing a different animal tomorrow night, and a team that played great basketball.
It's something that we want. That's what we come to college for. We want to play in an atmosphere like this, so I think we'll be just fine.
The game will be the 1,000th game of Roy Williams' college head coaching career. It tips off at 9:15, and you can see it on ESPN. It's a good thing basketball season is going well because the football team ended the regular season on Friday with a 28-21 loss to NC State. Head coach Larry Fedora has emphasized beating in-state teams, and the Heels failed to beat Duke and State this season. Carolina finishes the season 8-4 in what could have been a 10-2 or 9-3 season. After the loss to State, some players were taking the loss hard, while others were looking forward to the postseason.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, regardless of how you play individually, you want to win and you want to go out on the right note. But, I don't regret anything. I played my heart out. I know the guys in that locker room did, and we've done that for 4 years.
Letting everybody know that, we have another game and that we get one more chance to go out there and redeem ourselves. So that's going to be the mindset from here on out.
The State game was the last game in Kenan Stadium for seniors, notably Ryan Switzer, Bug Howard, Lucas Crowley, Nick Weiler, and TJ Logan. Fortunately for them, the season isn't done. With an 8-4 record, Carolina is bowl eligible, and here are some predictions about where the Heels will end up. CBS Sports predicts that Carolina will play in the Tax Slayer Bowl in Jacksonville, Florida on December 31st against Tennessee. ESPN predicts the team will play in the New Era Pinstripe Bowl on December 28th against either Minnesota or Iowa. And Sports Illustrated projects that the Heels could be in familiar territory, playing in the Belk Bowl in Charlotte on December 29th against Tennessee. The men's and women's soccer teams are trying to pull lacrosse by sweeping both NCAA titles. The Carolina women are in the Final Four, looking to capture the program's 23rd national title. The Heels will face off against West Virginia on Friday in San Jose, and a win could put them into the national championship game against either Georgetown or USC. The men's team is also still alive and will be playing Providence under the Friday night lights at Fester Field. Providence upset the #1 overall seed Maryland, and the Tar Heels will be hoping to avoid the same fate as the Terps and make the Final Four for the first time since they won it all back in 2011.
Very exciting. Wait, so, okay, I know men and women's lacrosse did something similar last year.
Yes,
They
both men's and women's lacrosse teams took home NCAA titles last spring. Wasn't that something? So, yeah, what aren't we good at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks so much, Peyton. Thanks. What do peaches, apples, and your Sperry's have in common?
cobbler, of course, next on Carolina Week.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. My name is Harvey Lauer. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Reporter Drew Kurtzman takes us now to a craftsman's workshop.
There, meet a man who works by hand to help cover your feet.
David Barnett Jr. is a soul man, and a heel man, and a strap man. Well, in other words, he's a cobbler.
Finished product.
He's been working on shoes for more than 40 years, and stopping seems the last thing on his mind.
Another 15 years. I hope to be still working. And feeling good like I am.
At Laycock's Shoe Store and Repair, Barnett carefully tends shoes, helping them look their best. His workshop, on the other hand, is another story, but he wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, it could be straightened out a little bit, no question about it, but it's gonna get dirty in this type of business.
In an era of factory production, Barnett works by hand, the rough skin of a craftsman as leather. He says it's something that he learned from his father.
So he was a carpenter, and so he used his hands a lot. So I guess some of it rubbed off on me a little bit.
In his decades of work, the practice itself has hardly changed. The machinery, older than he is. But nationally, cobblers are a vanishing profession, with just over 8,000 known to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. But Barnett isn't worried. Saving souls is no easy feat, and to him, the hard work is worth it.
Once you get it done, that's the greatest feeling you can have.
A feeling of accomplishment that keeps Barnett, and craftsmen like him, eager to keep honing their craft.
The tradition is continuing, and, as long as we have a place to repair shoes, Laycocks will be available for the community.
From Chapel Hill, I'm Drew Kurzman, reporting.
That is incredible. I've never seen inside a cobbler's workshop before. To see that is just really beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of people our age don't tend to go get that kind of thing done. We usually throw out the shoes and then go buy another pair rather than, appreciating it and letting someone
make it
fix
better
it.
and hold on to it.
Right? So everyone should go visit a cobbler. That's what the goal is. That's the summary is of this newscast.
Well, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week, and this is the last time Sharon and I are gonna co-anchor together.
Thank you so much for watching, and good night.